Hi and welcome back to the AQA GCSE History, Germany, the Democracy and the Dictatorship, 1890 to 1945 revision series. This is episode 7 and we're looking at the Great Depression. In 1929, the Great Depression hit Germany. The depreciation it caused in the 1920s and the 1930s meant that the German people were willing to consider any political party that promised something different. The Wall Street crash happened on October 1929. It sparked an international economic crisis and meant that the United States couldn't afford to prop up the German economy any longer. Germany's economic recovery between 1924 and 1929 was built on very unstable foundations. The biggest problem was that it was dependent on loans from the United States, which had been agreed in a Dawes Plan. After the Wall Street crash, the United States couldn't afford to lend Germany any more money. It also wanted some old loans to be repaid. Germany's economy collapsed without American aid. Industrial production went into decline, factories closed, and banks went out of business. There was mass employment. In October of 1929, 1.6 million people were out of work, and by February of 1939, there were over 6 million. The government also cut unemployment benefits. It couldn't afford to support a large number of Germans out of work. Popular disconnect with the Weimar government and economic instability created an opportunity for extremist parties to grow. The KPD, which was the Communist Party for Germany, increased in influence. The KPD was founded in December of 1918 and wanted a workers' revolution. The Communists promised to represent workers' needs and make German society fairer. This helped the KPD to gain a lot of supporters from unemployed Germans during the times of economic crisis. When the Great Depression hit Germany in 1929, the KPD competed with the Nazi Party for the support of Germans who had been hit the hardest by the economic crisis. Between 1928 and 1932, membership of the KPD grew from 130,000 to almost 300,000. However, the Nazi Party membership grew even more rapidly. Soon the KPD got left behind. If you look below, you'll see the federal election results in Germany from 1928 to 1932. In 1928, the Nazi Party only had 3% of the vote, the Communist Party 11%, and the SPD 30%. Then in 1930, the Nazi Party had 18%, the Communist Party had 13%, and the SPD had 25%. In July of 1932, the Nazi Party soared to have 37% of the votes. The Communist Party had 15% and the SPD had 22%. By November of 1932, the Nazi Party had 33%, the Communist Party had 17%, and the SPD had 20%. If you look at all these results, you can see that between 1928 and 1932, the Nazi Party pulled ahead of the KPD and the Nazis became the biggest party in the Reichstag. You can also see that between July and November of 1932, the Nazi Party lost votes, but they were still very popular, and the Social Democratic Party, which is the SPD, lost support in every federal election. So that's the end of episode 7 of the AQA GCSE History, Germany, Democracy and the Dictatorship, 1890 to 1945 revision series. Next episode we'll be looking at the rise of the Nazis. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed.